Hello, and welcome to US History and Elections. Given there is less than 2 months until the presidential election on November 3rd, I think it's going to be a perfect time for me to start going even more in depth into polling data, um, possible predictions and projections for swing states and the electoral map at large. And what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be making a video looking at a realistic path to victory for the president, Donald Trump. And I'm going to be making a matching video in the coming days, possibly next week, where I'm going to be looking at Joe Biden and a possible path to victory for the former vice president. And these are going to be realistic. They're not going to be, Trump blowout or Biden blowout, definitely not looking above 350 or 400 votes, electoral votes for either candidates. And I'm just going to clarify this right now. The polling and betting is only going one way at the moment. It shows Joe Biden roughly has a 70 to 80% chance of victory at the moment, and this is the 5th of September. So, like I said, there's about 2 months until the election. That could all change, but as a realistic path to victory for Donald Trump is just going to be narrowly clinching the election by the electoral vote. And I don't. One thing that happened, I'm just going to clarify this. I doubt President Trump will win the popular vote. I think it is near enough impossible for him. He has to make 3 million votes come back from 2016, and even though he won in quite a comfortable margin of victory through the electoral college, popular vote wise, he was smashed out of the park. 3 million votes separated him and Secretary Clinton, and I do not see him gaining anywhere near 3 million votes this election. Even if he does gain 1 or 2 million, that is still a loss of votes, and I doubt there's going to be any less voter turnout this election, given that these candidates are now, if anything, more liked than they were back in 2016. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. This is just a realistic path to victory for the president, and one that you could possibly be seeing in November when the actual election is held. So I've already filled out all the safe states as usual because none of these are going to be going to either candidate. I've left out Maine at large, Maine's second district, sorry, and Nebraska's second district, which I will be characterizing. But if Trump needs to win, I doubt he will actually get as many electoral votes as he did last time, similar to Obama's second election, where he still easily won, but there was less electoral votes. I believe he lost. I believe he lost North Carolina and Indiana coming into 2012. So Donald Trump would have to win nearly all the states that he won back in 2016, and especially the ones that were not considered swing states back in 2016, but now are due to the high polling of his Democratic opponent. And this would include Texas, would definitely have to go to Trump. 100%, 38 electoral votes, a huge victory, even though I doubt Joe Biden will be winning in Texas this year, and I doubt Democrats will be winning in 2024. But after 2024, I think Texas will be a competitive state and in all the levels, in the Senate, in the House, for the majority seats. But this is Donald Trump's realistic path to victory if everything turns around and he starts to narrow the gap in some of these states. Arizona, which is currently, I believe, just going for Joe Biden at the moment, that would definitely have to flip back. Georgia would have to be a likely, and North Carolina, which is neck and neck, would probably be a lean Republican state, as well as Florida. However, this one is not looking as close for president as these other states in the South, in the Sun Belt that I've just characterized. Florida is roughly actually, I think it's around 2.8% at the moment, if you average it all out in favor of Joe Biden. And that's definitely gone down about 3 points since I last checked, and that was during August. So Florida is definitely coming into contention again, and is going to be key in the election, as it always has been for the last 20 years. Now, these are the states you would expect him to carry, and I think I'm also going to throw in Iowa. Also, I doubt Joe Biden will win in Iowa. It went wasn't it about 15 points? 10 or 15 points for the president back in 2016. And no matter what happens, I think he's going to hold on to Midwestern state here, and that puts Donald Trump up at 240 and Joe Biden still with 188. But these are the states that Joe Biden will win no matter what. He is going to win Nevada. He will win Colorado and Virginia and also New Hampshire. Despite New Hampshire being pretty close back in the last election, it is only it's very much distance itself from the president. I mean, he has held quite a few rallies uh, in this state, but polling data, the Senate election, it only shows moving away from a Republican base, which this state very much was 20 years ago, voted for George W. Bush, despite most of New England being quite democratic at this point. But all of New England, minus possibly Maine's second district, is solidly Democratic at this point, and this is why you would also see Maine at large go to Joe Biden. I've also put Colorado and Nevada in this category of likely, possibly lean, and this is because if Hillary Clinton could win here, Joe Biden can win here as well, and this is a realistic path. There's no realistic chance that Donald Trump would win in Colorado. Nevada slightly more likely, but even then, there's no chance there. And the same with Virginia. It's been trending so much towards the Democrats in the past 10 years. That's gone from a swing state to being effectively a likely Democratic state. And there's no way Joe Biden will lose this state in November. Now, 222 for Joe Biden and 240 for the Republicans, which is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is going to take both of the special electoral districts, the second district in Maine and Nebraska's second district, which is essentially Omaha and its suburbs. And this would be just confirming what happened in 2016. Maine's second district flipped, I think, about 20 points from about 10 points in favor of Obama in 2012 to 10 points in favor of Donald Trump in 2016. And I believe Nebraska's second district may have gone for Barack Obama, possibly in 2008. I'm not sure about 2012, but essentially that didn't matter then, and essentially it might matter this time around because this is going to be very tight, and one electoral vote could make the difference in this election. So we're back at the Rust Belt, and it is going to be a realistic possibility for the president to win, which he can do. I mean, he won these three states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, all by less than 1% of the vote. I believe he lost Minnesota by 1.5, and Ohio was a solidly Republican state in 2016, and I'm going to put that in the lean category. He won it by 10 points back in 2016, and I believe he'll win it again this year. Polling data only showing President Trump ahead of Joe Biden in this area, and there's not really much proof that is going, not much electoral change, electoral or social population change in this state, and I think the rural areas are definitely going to come out in swathes to vote for the president. And a possible, as you can see, Donald Trump only needs to win one of these states. And he has just won re-election up until 2024. 2025, if we're counting when he actually leaves office, that is. But I think Joe Biden does have a chance to win in all of these states. But if we're saying a realistic path to victory for the president, this would definitely lead to a victory in Wisconsin, and that would push him over the 270, or it would put him on the 270 margin that he needs to win. And I would also see Pennsylvania a tilt victory for the president there, and that would push him up to 290 electoral votes, which essentially puts it over the line of a contentious election where the vote is literally split by one electoral district, possibly in Maine or Nebraska. And Michigan has been trending very well for Joe Biden. So realistically, unless Trump really turns it around in this state, I think Joe Biden will win by a lean margin. I can not see him at the moment. Polling data shows him way above 5%, and reaching possibly up to the double digits in this state. Quite a turnaround from 2016, but again, that's what happened in so many of the Rust Belt states. But I think Pennsylvania is a lot closer. It's around It's just under the likely margin. It's around 4% for Joe Biden at the moment, which is well within the margin of error. And Wisconsin is also pretty close. But I think that would also have to be put into a Republican tilt column. And Minnesota is an interesting one. Of course, it went for Hillary Clinton back in 2016, and the polling data, seems to be quite positive for Joe Biden. He's leading around 8 to 10% in the state, so they really shouldn't be much of a problem. But I think one thing the Democrats are forgetting is that they're focusing a lot in the Minneapolis and Paul area and the southeastern portion of the state, which is where majority of the population lives. But there's been, the Black Lives Matter was focused in Minneapolis back in May, I believe, and there's been quite a lot of partisan discontent. Some supporting it and some, outright rejecting the unfortunate consequences that it has had in the city, and definitely has destabilized the entire area of Minnesota. And it's definitely not been a good look for Joe Biden, who is, completely supporting these protests, and Trump, who is, definitely putting some blame on the agitators and rioting that has happened in quite a lot of the cities across the country. And with the epicenter being in Minnesota and a lot of the other portions, Duluth and especially on the Dakota border, there's been a lot of support for Trump, and he almost won the state back in 2016. And I think in a realistic win for Donald Trump, he could push into 300 electoral votes by getting a very, very slight win in Minnesota. The polling data doesn't exactly show this, but I can only see it tightening, and Joe Biden is not going to win Minnesota by a huge area, by a huge margin. And even if and it's definitely in realms of possibility that he could lose it. So this is the final map I'm going to be saying for a realistic Trump victory, Trump re-election come November. And this would have Trump with 300 electoral votes and Joe Biden with 238, which is roughly the same as 2016. It's just you need to give Michigan to Republicans and Minnesota back to Democrats. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you all again soon.